Well, this will be Sunday. We're getting really close to Halloween now. And more black and white motif back here as I got things I write out and try to figure out the save and things like that. So, how about we do something with big motherfuckers this time? And by big motherfuckers, I mean giants. Like the Amazing Colossal Man from, when was Amazing Colossal Man? 1957. You know the story. Colonel Manning goes out to try to save somebody during an atomic bomb test, and the blast basically burns him burns him, but actually he survives the burning and grows and grows and grows to be like 50 feet tall. And Colossal Man is played by Glenn Langdon, and he basically is a bald guy who's really pissed off and walking around with a towel around him in Las Vegas and smashing shit up. He tears down a cowboy sign. There's one tremendous scene where basically they can stop his growth if they inject something into him, so they make this giant hypodermic needle and ram it into his ankle bone. Then he pulls it out and throws it and impales the guy who stuck him with it. But it did stop him growing. So the whole thing ends up in a showdown on the Boulder Dam, I guess, where he is basically shot and falls to his death. Well, he didn't fall to his death. He shows up in the next film, War of the Colossal Beast, and Glenn Langdon is replaced by Dean Parkin. And in this one, basically from getting shot or falling or whatever, half his face is like ripped down to the bone, and there's an empty eye socket and shit. And the interesting thing was this was released on 8mm with Ken Films, and they combined both The Amazing Colossal Man and War and the Colossal Beast, and the scene where they basically shot him off of Boulder Dam. Well, he didn't go off of Boulder Dam. The subtitle on the little 8mm film said, "Great shot, right in the face." So then they segue to the missing face thing. Basically, he is in Mexico attacking food trucks and eating, the food because, he's the Colossal Man. He's also lost his mind a little bit. So they catch him, they chain him up in an airplane hangar. Eventually he gets out, and his sister is trying to communicate with him and get through to him. And at the end, he's standing next to a bunch of high tension wires. And in this, AIP was good for this. They did it a couple other times with the ending turning in color. As he grabs the wires and electrocutes himself, the scene turns in color. They used the same angle for Teenage Frankenstein when the monster accidentally electrocuted himself, and also How to Make a Monster when the end fire was burning everything up. So that was basically the end of the Colossal Man, but not the end of big bald-headed motherfuckers. In between those two films, Burt Gordon shot another film called The Cyclops, using Dean Parkin again. And in this one, a geologist goes down to Mexico to find some uranium deposits, and all of a sudden he disappears. And then his fiancée and some other people, including Lon Chaney Jr., go down there to fly down there. And as they're flying, for some reason out of the clear blue, Lon Chaney punches the pilot out, and they crash land down there. And the area is rich with uranium, which has caused everything down there to grow big. So we have all the rear projected iguanas and spiders and all the other shit. And then when they're in a cave looking for something, a big rock gets pushed into the cave, and all of a sudden the Cyclops pops up. Obviously this guy got injured. He's only got one glaring eye, and the other eye has like silly putty over it and shit. So he's got these people trapped in a cave. He makes grunting noises and shit like that. And Lon Chaney tries to shoot it and gets killed. And then they eventually escape, and they're climbing up a cliff when the thing is after them, and the hero gets a flaming spear and throws it into the good eye, and that's the end of the Cyclops. Those were three big bald bastards, all directed by Burt I. Gordon, who actually made it to 100 years old. I believe he passed away. Actually, he passed away this year. But gotta let the female of the species in here too, because we had a giant woman back in, let's see, when was that one? That was 1958 also. Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, with none other than Allison Hayes in the titular, and I mean titular role of the 50-Foot Woman. she has this huge diamond. She's unhappily married to this guy, Harry, who's cheating with Yvette Vickers, who's playing a tramp. And she goes driving around, and this spaceship lands, and this big, bold alien gets out and takes the pendant, obviously, because I guess he needs diamonds or something to fuel the rocket ship. So anyway, she's confined to bed and grows to be 50 feet tall. And you get the big paper mache hand in the way, and stuff gets wrecked. But the sheriff and his deputy find the spaceship and go in there. And I think this is one of those deals where whatever car they're driving gets picked up, and a car that doesn't match that car gets thrown down. So anyway, Allison goes on a rampage, with this, beach towel wrapped around her, looking for Harry, screaming, Harry, Harry. She pops out of the fucking house and rips the house apart. And, this and the Cyclops were Chiller Theater regulars, too. They were always on Chiller Theater, on and off for years. So she pretty much wrecks the house and goes stalking into the town, looking for Harry, and finds Harry cheating with the little tramp, and basically picks Harry up. And honestly, she could have used Harry as a tampon at this point. So she wanders through the town until she comes by the electrical towers, and again, she gets zapped. So, yeah, 50-Foot Woman is actually a pretty cool fucking movie. It was I think it was done by Nathan Duran, if I remember correctly, not Burt Gordon. But you still have the whole superimposed, flaws, because when the giant's walking along the landscape, you can see the hills through him. So, yeah, they're 4 cheesy movies with 4 big bald guys and 1 hot chick. So, yeah, check them out. I think, except for Amazing Colossal, man, I think they're all available. That one's being held up because of the whole Susan Hart issue with AIP. So, maybe we'll get to see that someday. Maybe we won't. Who cares? But I got it on bootleg, so I don't give a shit. But anyway, something else I got to mention is Richard Roundtree, the actor who played Shaft, passed away last week at age 81. Richard gave class to the whole blaxploitation explosion. He was just one of those guys that just strode through the whole movie, didn't take any shit, and there was, Shaft, I think I believe there was 3 or 4 Shaft movies, I'm not sure, but he was in other movies too, like Q for Larry Cohen and stuff like that. Roots. He was also in the remake of Shaft alongside of Samuel L. Jackson, who really thanked him for being there and, creating this whole genre. So, Richard Roundtree, thank you for your contribution to the genre. May you rest in peace. And it's sad to see all these legends go, but as we get older, our heroes, leave us. And it sucks, but we have to deal with it. So, that's our show for today. Until next time, stay safe, be well, and we'll catch you on the flip side.